Hello, everyone. I am Adam Dean. Welcome back to An Attempt to Understand, and thank you for joining me today. So, today we are discussing finding new fun, escaping the kind of TV and tired routine. So, what really made me want to speak about this in particular is just, it's so easy to feel that your life is stuck or that you're on repeat. You're working and you're eating dinner and then you're watching TV and then you're going to bed and then it starts over, you know. But if you felt like that, you're not alone, obviously. There is a way out. And I want to talk about that today, because I think it's far too easy to get stuck in these routines. And, I've spoken about routine before. I rely on routine. Routine gives me great comfort, but it also gives me great pain. I think growing up, I never expected to, it's not I never expected to have a routine. It is, I think I always just admired or not fantasize, but put on like a pedestal when you viewed anyone in media that didn't have a routine. Like some famous person in a film going around doing stuff, or you're just life is an adventure. I think I dived into the fantasy when I was a kid about. Your life always being an adventure, and you never know what you could end up doing or where you could end up, and that type of thing. And I think I not balanced it, but I bookended that fantasy of always viewing life as an adventure and doing everything outside of a routine. I always kind of bookended that with seeing my mum live her routine, which was coming home from work absolutely exhausted, cooking and eating dinner, and then cleaning the house and essentially watching TV for an hour and going to sleep. And don't get me wrong, there are changes in the routine. It's not every day that you go to work, and some days you would see friends or something for that bit of time in the evening, and other days, I was religious, so they would go to church, and that's kind of like a third place. But, so there is differences in it, but overall, it's draining. In my experience, when you work full time, especially with a partner, your time just feels like it's not yours. You wake up and then you work. You run errands and you do chores in your house, and thankfully I homework, so that makes things so much easier. But when I didn't homework for like a couple of years, and I'm so blessed to not have had to do longer in the office, at least at this point in my career, um, it was like 12 hours. It was like 12 hours. Like you close the door in the morning and you turn the key in the lock, and then flipping 12 hours passes and you're staring at your front door again and you're like, okay, unlock. And it just took all your energy so long to commute, to come home, to plan the meal, to think about it. I mean, I remember before me and my partner had found a consistent routine at all, and we go back and forth in routines in terms of dinner and stuff like that. But before we had anything at all, I remember we would both get up, we'd both commute to work, we'd both commute back, we'd sit on the sofa, and we'd look at each other and say, okay, what do you want for dinner? Oh no. Oh no, no, no. My goodness. That's bad, honestly, because you just don't want to look at each other. You just don't even want to face it. Like it becomes the D word. It doesn't become dinner anymore. It's a horrible hanging decision. And you see tweets and stuff about that. Like I didn't realize the worst part of adulthood was deciding what to do for dinner every day, or I didn't realize that adulthood was like bills, taxes, and dishes all the time. Um, but realistically, let's let's get into what I'm really here to talk about. Okay, um, me and my partner, we really fell into something called parallel play. Parallel play is more really a topic within the neurodivergent community online and stuff for like ADHD and autism and stuff like that. And parallel play really just means doing separate things in the same space. So, like, I would watch a film on TV and she would paint her nails, or I would play a game and she would do crafting, or she would play her game and I would read a book. And really, in doing parallel play, there's a lot of benefits to it, and it it gives a sensation that you're doing something together without doing something together. Essentially, it allows there to be a lack of compromise in terms of the activity that you're looking to do, while still feeling a fulfillment from the sense of presence that your partner is there. Which, at least for me and my partner, is a really important thing. The sense of presence, in terms of our past history with our home lives and stuff like that. It's really important that we physically feel comfortable, And I mean, that sounds silly to say, but it seems a heightened level of importance for us. Um, with these activities, again, it's not that the routine itself is toxic or that the inclusion of parallel play is toxic, because at its root, it's not a conflict, But what I find is the conflict is that there was just no growth in it. We ended up just melting into the couch, kind of waiting for the day to pass. Um, and being comfortable didn't always equal being connected. And sometimes it was kind of hard to realize that fact. So really that was the first step in recognizing um is noticing the rut. And again, the term rut, you kind of hear it in, I don't know, like in the show Friends, or in an old rom com or something like that. Um, and it only came back into my head when I was really going over this topic and speaking about it and stuff. But it really is just stuck in a rut, feeling like you're never doing new things. You're never actually like living life. You're just kind of fulfilling the time that you have in each day. And for us, that really came out in feeling like we were never properly spending time with each other. Like, even though we were seeing each other every day, we were really spending more time with the co-workers that we had conversations with, or the friends that we would bring over like a couple nights a week and spend like purposeful time with, because we were just easily settling into this routine of hanging out with each other and not really connecting. So, in terms of fixing that, again, we're all about actionable advice here on An Attempt to Understand. The first thing we did, which was quite a small thing, but it really did help, is we started doing like a midweek date night. We started taking Wednesday. We solved kind of two problems in one. Like I said, the dinner is always a difficult thing. We went through different routines, but one that certainly helped us for a good while is having one meal kind of split over the first 2 nights of the week, having a date night where we go out of the house and we go out for a meal and we have a chat on the Wednesday to break up the night, and then having a bigger meal again split over the following 2 days. And that kind of takes up the week nicely without it being like 5 individual full meals you have to go out, buy the ingredients for, prep, cook, and all that. So just having a small bit of time that was, we were decisive about it, we were purposeful in picking that and committing to it, and that it's not going to be spent elsewhere. Even if the context doesn't allow us to go out for some reason, and we're still prioritizing that time with each other. We're still prioritizing that connection. The next thing we did, and again, these are all quite small things, but they all make a big impact at the end of the day, is more active in entertainment. So we picked up the Switch sports game. It's Wii Sports. Everyone knows Wii Sports. It's Wii Sports, but for the Nintendo Switch. So it has golf and tennis and volleyball and the rest of it. And again, it's a really short thing, but it gets us up and it gets us active. And even if it's just 15 minutes, usually, honestly, it's like an hour or 90 minutes of proper doing stuff. And to be honest, Nate, you really feel it. See, when you don't work out, you don't run, you don't stretch, or you don't do any of it, you just kind of live your life. And then all of a sudden you spend an hour just wham, just like fully moving yourself intensely to tennis. You actually feel like I've extended my arm too much. But even in taking it to the excessive place, even just 15 minutes of us getting up and popping it in and playing a wee bit, it fosters the connection that I'm speaking about. It gives an opportunity to laugh and to have fun and to be competitive and to joke and to liven spirits more than, your regular routine of entertainment does. And again, just to say, it's not that there is issue in the routine, and it's not that there is a lack of other commitment or a lack of other time and attention or conversation, with me and my partner, or even in your situation. It is, I really think specifically about finding areas where you have become content and re-asking the question, am I content here? Or was it just, fulfilling to a very short-term level or a surface level? Was it fulfilling to a surface level at a certain time? And we've just kind of settled from there, And the last thing we have really started to do, and this has been brilliant as well, is we started to read together. We have two collections of the Chronicles of Narnia. So we've started to read that together, kind of switching back and forth between reading out loud and just reading it beside each other. We've started that with The Magician's Nephew. We're only a couple chapters in so far, doing it over the past week or so, but honestly, it's been amazing, prioritizing that we are. So, before bed, it obviously allows you to step away from the phone, step away from that side of thing, which is positive. But it also gives us just another thing to talk about, another opportunity to discuss something that we both love. And I've been really thankful for that. It's been really fun just hearing my partner's funny comments or just reacting to each other about the story. Like, again, very, very quickly, in The Magician's Nephew, it is the protagonist Diggory and Polly, and they're both like 10 or something like that. And Polly is so funny. Like, she's a straight savage, Obviously, it's sort of a long time ago and all that, so Diggory's like a wee mini 10-year-old sexist, and he has a dig at her at one point, like, oh, you're such a scaredy cat, you're getting on like such a girl. And she's just like right back at him. She's like, nah, I'm not letting that stand. You're, and she just absolutely digs through him. And I wish I could remember a couple lines of her dialogue, but she's just hot fire, she just spits it. And every time me and my partners look up at each other like, oh my goodness, Polly's back at it. And it's such a lovely time, and I just cherish it. So I'm so glad that we've begun at least a routine within that, and we can continue to grow that and stuff as well as we continue on. So, to recap, people, what we're really talking about today is finding yourself falling into a routine. A routine that you're not really happy with and that you don't feel, I guess, serves you fully anymore, or at least isn't checking all of the boxes. Obviously, I've spoke a lot personally from my experience with my partner specifically in finding the techniques that help us with our relationship. But really, the techniques would stand to improve in any situation, even if it is yourself. It is still, at the end of the day, about, I believe, fostering connection, a new opportunity for different experiences, which again for us was kind of setting a weekly date night where we take a break in the middle of the week and we get away from everything and we kind of have a refresher between ourselves, having the Switch game, which kind of creates new opportunity for getting active and having fun each day, as well as reading together. Again, just another opportunity to laugh, enjoy each other's company, and really make sure that we're feeling, fulfilled within spending the time together, because you don't get a lot of time every day. You really don't. Between all the commitments, between commuting, between everything, your time just disappears. So finding ways to prioritize it and to really make it as effective as possible with your partner or with yourself is absolutely essential. So that is pretty much everything I wanted to discuss this week, people. Again, thank you very much for listening. I've been Adam Dean, obviously here on An Attempt to Understand. If I was to pose one question to yourself, I suppose it would have to be, what's one small thing that you could try this week to reconnect or recharge, and you could share that below in the comments with us if you're feeling so able. And remember, it doesn't have to be something involving another person. The most important person in your life is probably yourself and how you care for yourself. So always remember that, But yes, once more, thank you for listening. leave a like and a comment, a share, and all the lovely stuff that you're meant to do. And I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. I've been Adam Dean. This is An Attempt to Understand, and I'll catch you next week. Thank you very much. Bye bye.